Hello, everybody. My name is Audrey. Welcome back to another episode of ARCC's Resett TV Talk. Today, I'm excited to be sitting down with somebody a little bit more my own eye level, and we're going to crack on. We're going to have a good old time. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I am Cecilia. I like to be called Cecilia, but I have two other names. Burmese name is called Modazin, and my legal name is called Mong Mu Mang. Yeah.
What do both of those names mean, if they
Uh,
translate into anything?
Modazin is like, if you translate it one word by one word, Mo is like rain, and then Dazin is like a type of flower.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. My dad named me this because I really wanted a Burmese name. So he named me that. And then my legal name, Mang Mu Mang, I don't really know the actual meaning of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think names are powerful.
Right.
And I think, definitely because, your name, the Bible talks about life and death being in the power of the tongue, Right. So whatever you say when you speak over your kid, and, people have a funny way of, living up to their name, excuse me. They have a funny way of, somehow being what their name said they were always going to be. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
In today's episode, it's going to be one of those ones where we talk about a plethora of things. But the main heart behind each section is that we get to know Cecilia. We get to know the life behind a lot of the people that live in this country. Part 2 is all about vision. We were talking a little bit off cam, and I think it would be so exciting for you to share some of your story, share some of what you've been through, but how coming to New Zealand made you feel like you can go further, because I felt the same thing.
Right.
The last bit, we're going to do our best to offer as many solutions as we can. But like I say all the time, we don't have all the answers. But I think it's often quite typical for people to get on a podcast and they just kind of complain, but they don't really try and offer a way out of it. So we're going to do our best to do that in the third section. But for the first section, tell us a little bit about literally who you are. What was Cecilia like growing up? How did you end up in Malaysia?
Right.
What was it like? What are you studying? What are you interested in? How old are you? All the things. You just go, take it away.
Right. To begin with, I was born in Mindachin State, and it's in Myanmar. I don't remember a lot because I was really young. But yeah, so around that time, Myanmar is still until now, but Myanmar was really, really, the economy was really bad. It was extremely, the poverty was to its extreme. It was really bad. So my family decided that we would flee to Malaysia for a better education and for a better life. So my dad went to Malaysia first. If I remember right, it will be around 2007. And then shortly after that, he managed to call us to Malaysia. But because he was there as a refugee as well, it was really he didn't have money.
Yeah.
So we had to, we didn't take the plane. We had to go through
Whoa.
really...
Long journey.
Yeah, it was really long journey. We had to go on foot from Myanmar all the way to Malaysia. So we went through Thailand as well. Yeah, it was really a tough journey. All I could remember was that we were walking on thorns at night, mostly at night because we didn't want to be caught by the police in Thailand and everything. So yeah, but by the grace of God, we managed to get to Malaysia safely in 2009, if I remember right. And then, yeah, we lived there for a few years in Cameron Highland.
Yeah.
And then we decided that, my parents decided that it would be better for us to live in the city because there is more access to, just
resources.
It's better, better in general. So we moved to the city, which is Kuala Lumpur.
Mm-hmm.
So we lived
That's
there.
amazing.
Yeah.
One of our biggest campuses is in Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, right.
Yeah, 5,000 people.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
They keep
nice.
going.
Right. And then I don't really remember a lot, but then Fast forward to when I started school, because we couldn't go to their government schools in Malaysia because it was we were refugees, and we just went to refugee schools that are set up by refugee elders that help the refugees. So we went to refugee school, and there were lots of other refugee people as well, and met a lot of people. And then fast forward to 2017. Fast forward to 2017. I lost my parents. It was due to a very unfortunate accident. Right, and then from 2017, it was when we. It was very unexpected, right?
Yeah. Kind of hits you. No, it's okay. It's okay. It kind of hits you out of nowhere. Yeah. I don't have a synonymous story in that regard, but when I was 15, my dad left, and then when I was 19, my mom left as well, and it was just as unexpected. We kind of just woke up, and my mom had wanted to go to the airport and fly to a different country. And so I don't understand parental grief as it pertains to death, but like I am the oldest, and you're the youngest of 3 girls, and I'm the oldest of 3 girls, and what the feeling is like the ground kind of lifting and your whole world changes.
Right.
And you're suddenly in this position of like, you feel as though nobody kind of guards you and protects you, you know?
Yeah.
And so
definitely.
That sense of feeling, I think, is kind of, you experience it in multiple ways. The feeling of being like, oh my gosh, I've just been abandoned, you know, and God's like, no, you're not abandoned. I'm just going to quickly wipe my nose. Give me 5 seconds.
Okay.
And so I think the idea of grief is a really hard thing to process because there's no kind of manual for it. There's no right way to do it, you know, and there's no way in which you can get through it faster. It takes as long as it takes, you know, and we've been able to repair, and now I'm best friends with like both of my parents. But I think it is because I was kind of the one that was at the top, the fear was kind of like, what do I do with my sisters? How do I don't know how to take care of myself, let alone taking care of 2 other people. At the time, I didn't even know how to cook rice. I was like trying to figure out, oh my gosh, what is vegetables? Let's make frozen tuna, all the things. And so I really, really, really have empathy and like can feel for you and have an understanding of it. And so after that kind of year for you, did you end up completing high school in New Zealand? How did you end up choosing your degree at university? What did life look like after that for you?
Right. Just to touch back on that, I wasn't the youngest, but so I actually had a younger sister as well, and then I also had a nephew.
Wow.
But then unfortunately, my parents and my nephew and my sister, my little sister, all of them passed away. Wow. So now I'm the youngest. So that shift as well, it was like, oh, so now I'm the youngest now, like, oh, it just, totally different and totally new to me. Like, I didn't know how to be as the youngest one. Like,
it's a different dynamic. All of it's a different dynamic. I remember when I found out that I had an older sister, I was like, oh, she can't tell me what to do though. You know, because it's like, you're so used to being in leadership. You're so used to operating in the position that you are in the family. You know, and when that changes, you kind of like, oh, what do I do?
Exactly. So when people ask me from time to time, like, oh, do you have a younger sister, or are you the youngest? I'm like, oh yeah, I have a youngest. Oh no, actually I'm the youngest now. So that shift is a little new. It felt new to me. And then fast forward to 2020, when we were finally given a chance to resettle to New Zealand. So the thing is, in Malaysia, there's this organization called UNHCR, and they help refugees resettle to different countries.
Okay, cool.
At first, we thought we were gonna go to the US because the US helps a lot of refugees as well. We didn't even know that there was New Zealand.
Everyone says this. They have
yeah.
no idea that New Zealand exists. Yeah.
We had no idea about it, but we were asked after we lost our parents, they were like, do you guys want to go to New Zealand or do you guys want to go to Australia? We were like, we really have no idea what we want to do or where we want to go.
Too many options.
Yeah, too many options that we've never even heard of.
I know, it's kind of overwhelming.
So we were like, whatever that you guys think best will be best for us. And then we were given, we were told that we will have to resettle to New Zealand. We were like, yeah, super cool. We're going to see how it goes. Yeah. And then we moved here. We resettled here. And then we first spent a couple months in the refugee camp. And these new facilities that we get to, for example, the hall, the bed, everything was like, it kind of felt like jail because there was like a building and a bed and that was it. But it was really like, on the other hand, it also felt like a 5-star hotel.
Say it sounds like jail and then say hotel.
Sorry. No offense to anyone.
That's fine. I'm going to wipe my nose.
Just because of like how the room was, yeah. But on the other hand, it did feel like take your time. But yeah, on the other hand, it did feel
Imagine you're in prison or like you actually been to jail and you hear someone say a refugee camp sounds like way.
I hope they don't take it seriously.
Yeah. It's just a metaphor, guys.
Yeah. Not that serious. But yeah, on the other hand, it also felt like a 5-star hotel because there were so many services, resources. So we had so many options. For example, if we, when in the morning when we gonna have breakfast, there's like egg and then there's like bread and then there's all these options and we're like,
you won't get that in jail.
We're gonna leave that behind.
Sorry.
But yeah. On top of that, we also get to go to like classes. They prepared classes for us to teach us about New Zealand. I shouldn't have said that.
Because I thought of more jokes and I was like, don't say it.
Yeah. But yeah, they helped us feel familiar with the whole New Zealand environment. They taught us more about New Zealand, the culture of New Zealand, and how the people here live and all that. So we spent a couple months there, and then the officers, the people that helped us resettle, they were looking for houses for like every family, and most of the families were able to just like leave the camp and then they were able to go to their new home and everything. But our family, it took a while. And so then just while they were like looking for the house for us, we came to meet the Burmese community here. And they invited us for dinner and everything, and they told us about like how New Zealand was and how it will be better for us to live in Auckland rather than elsewhere because of the resources and everything available here in the city. So we were like, since they can't find a house for us, we might as well just live in Auckland. It sounds a lot nicer. And so we decided that, and we told our officer, but then they were thinking of letting us go to Nelson, but now that we've decided to stay in Auckland, I think it complicated a lot of things. It complicated their plans and everything. So because of that, they told us that since we decided to live in Auckland, we have to do everything on our own. They like won't offer help. So we didn't
rough.
get housing. We didn't get help on almost anything. So it's the Burmese community. It's our other Burmese fellow people that live in Auckland that helped us. And they helped us find a house for us. They helped us like register at a GP. Before coming to New Zealand, we didn't even know what a GP was. No idea at all.
Definitely,
Yeah, and so everything was so different, and just we didn't know what to do at all. Even though I spoke a little English, I still didn't know what was going on. It was very blurry, like
overwhelming.
Yeah, it
It's
was
like a lot of
totally
stuff
overwhelming.
happening at once. Yeah.
It was really overwhelming. We didn't know if we were making the right decision.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. But then, by the grace of God, once again, we had people who were willing to help us find a home for us and help us connect with the other Burmese people here in Auckland.
Yeah.
And because it was in 2020, when COVID crisis started, it was really hard. Before we were able to find a home, we had to stay at the family who helped us find a home. We had to stay at their house for like a month because it was lockdown time. So we had to stay at their house. We didn't have any money, right? So we just basically we were just living there. We were just living there for free. We just ate their food and everything. So we didn't pay for anything. And
that's incredible.
We really want to thank them also for their help for as long as we stayed there. And then shortly after, I think lockdown was lifted, we were finally able to find a home. It was a private home, right? Because we didn't have, we couldn't have a housing. So we just rented a private property, and then they also helped us with all the paperwork regarding that, because we never knew.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. All good.
Should we take a little break?
Yeah, sure.
So I can go. Sorry about the abrupt stop, guys. I'm a little bit under the weather, but I wanted to finish off where you were at, and then we'll actually be moving straight into part 2. So you are staying with this family. Right. You don't have any money. They're providing for you. That's incredible. That's incredibly generous. So when did you start moving into this life of independence with you and your siblings?
I think it was around April 2020. We were finally able to move into our new house. And then it was very, once again, different because we didn't have our new house. We didn't have a house back in Malaysia. It was just like in apartments or like flats. But here we have a new house, and it was should I say government, because it was from Work and Income Wins that helped us pay. So it was like, it doesn't come out from our own pocket. So it was like, so now we have a house that we can call home and that we don't have to pay on our own. Like, it was really nice. Yeah. And finally felt the security, because now we don't have to feel worried about paying like rent or being behind rent and everything.
Yeah, you can breathe a little bit.
Yeah. And then after that, difficulties didn't end there. We have to start looking for like schools that we need to attend to and start doing the paperwork. And the family that helped us move into this new house, they also recommended that we go to this Catholic school, because we are from Catholic, so we are Catholic, so they recommended that we go to this Catholic school in Henderson, which is St. Dominic's Catholic College for girls. And we were like, yeah, sure, why not? And so we started doing the paperwork, the registration and enrollment and everything. And then we finally joined the school in around May, towards the end of May. And so once school started, because we had no car, we had to start like figuring out the way, like example, how to get to school and everything. So we, my sister and I, We used, yes, we did use buses in Malaysia, but it was a bit different to New Zealand.
The system,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
system. So we were like, yeah. Anyways, we started going to school by bus, and then within the school, everything was different once again, because there was this thing called form classes, and then like different year levels,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then just everything, totally everything was different. I don't think I understood any of it on my
Yeah.
first day.
Yeah.
I felt very lost. But then, yeah, days went by and started feeling familiar with the environment. And I would say it took me about a year, 2 years to like finally feel comfortable around the school. Yeah, and then towards the end of my high school year, I was like, I really want to do something as well within the school. So I applied for a leadership role and was appointed the international student leader. And then I was like, oh yeah, I can kind of like connect with the international students because they come from their country to another country to study. So
Yeah.
I guess I can kind of like relate with them. So that's why I was able to help them to an extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then graduated high school last year, and then I'm planning to study first year health science, and then going into pharmacy, bachelor of pharmacy from the second year. To be honest, I don't know what the future holds. I really don't know if I will be able to graduate or if I will not be able to graduate. But really, I guess we just gotta keep going and do things, and then we'll see what God plans for us. Yeah.
No, you'll graduate. You'll be just fine. You'll be just fine.
Thank you.
I think, if anything, your story illustrates resilience, and that's all
Right.
university is like the ability to persevere, the
Right.
ability to get back up after you've been hit with a bad grade, or you've worked all night on a grade and you feel like you deserved something better. The ability to balance life and university is a really hard one that took me a minute to learn, especially with law, because if you're not studying at school, you're studying at home, on the bus, in the toilet. I would be reading, because so many of the papers and the ability to debate and all the information that I needed, I couldn't learn it just in lectures.
Right.
So you'll be fine. You'll do amazing. A huge bit that I really wanted to touch on was the comparative life between Malaysia and here, and where you felt like you developed this sense of like drive and ambition to do more. And so when you think about your life back home in Malaysia and your life that you've set up for yourself now, what are one of the things that you would say was a turning point that made you realize, I can actually go for that. I can do that.
Right. I think that will be before I apply for a leadership role. I stay in touch with my friends from Malaysia,
Cool.
and they would always like tell me how it's going for them, and I would also share my how life in New Zealand is, and then as we communicate, they have more difficulties and problems to tell me than like good things. So I always feel like I feel really sad that they can't resettle to a new country like me.
Yeah.
And so then I feel like I need to do something because I need to show them that they also can have hope. We don't know what God holds for us. So like if 10 years ago, I would have never imagined that I'll be in New Zealand studying and doing everything that I'm doing right now. I would have never imagined.
It blows your mind, right? Yeah.
For sure. And that's why when I think of that, when I reflect again, I'm like, I need to inspire other people, the people that are like me. I need to inspire my fellow refugees to have hope, especially the refugees back in Malaysia. Most of them have felt hopeless because they have lived really long in Malaysia, and they don't think that they will have a bright future like us. They would just live there and eventually die. That's what they all just, think.
Yeah.
So I really want to inspire them by doing something great and doing something that no one would have imagined. So I would say that was the turning point. And so then I started wanting to do bigger and great things. So I applied for a leadership role, and then after that, studying for exams was also really hard because I was not sure if I would get into the university. I didn't really know how the whole university thing
works. I know.
No,
it's a
not
different
at
world
all.
over there.
I was like, back in year 10 or 11, I was like, would I even be able to go to university? Like, my English is not good. I don't know anything at all. Like, how am I going to be able to get to university, But towards the end of the year, started like doing research what I want to study and what I want to do to help back my fellow refugees, or like to help contribute back to the local community here, my Burmese community as well. And so I was like, I really wanted to do something related to medical field. And at first I was thinking maybe optometrist, but then I was like, I really don't know. And then it took me a year to figure out maybe pharmacy.
Wow.
And then I came to a conclusion that I'll become a pharmacist. And then did that. And then when I got accepted into the University of Auckland, it felt so surreal. I was like, I can go to university now. Like, that's so, how should I say? That just feels so that felt like a dream come true, because never have I ever thought that I'll be able to go to university and like learn all these things that other people do. But now that I can finally go to university, I have more ambitions now. I now think that I should do greater things. I need to graduate, and then I need to do greater things to inspire my fellow refugees. And along the way, I would also like try to share my life story with many other fellow refugees. And so I started a YouTube channel. And so I was like,
shameless plug. I like this. That was very smooth. That was, wow. I didn't even know you had, okay, go ahead. Do your thing.
Yeah, I started my YouTube channel with the whole purpose of inspiring other friends. Yeah.
That's amazing. I was listening to, I love Jordan Peterson. I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he was showing how studies show that one of the leading solutions, funnily enough, to poverty, I'm paraphrasing it very badly, is vision. So if people feel like they have something to work towards, they will have drive.
Right.
If people have something to aim at, they suddenly have this unction to feel like, actually, I want to get up in the morning and I want to go after this thing. And he was showing how that relationship between people having ambition and poverty is like insane. And it's one of those things that people don't often talk about, I think that was one of the things that really convinced our parents about migrating to New Zealand.
Right.
I have a similar story. My mom trekked from Burundi to Kenya, meets my dad. I was born kind of vibe. And they I was born in Kakuma, Nairobi, one of the two. And I come to New Zealand. And for them, it's something similar. But okay, let's say we do stay in Kakuma and Audrey does grow up in this environment. What is life going to look like comparatively if she was to grow up in New Zealand?
Right.
What would she do there? And their ability to dream became my ability to dream. And I think sometimes the greatest thing to ever offer somebody is an opportunity to do something they never thought was possible.
Right.
And so I think it's incredible that you didn't just have an aim, but you saw it come to pass, and then now you're going, okay, well, I did this and I didn't think it was possible. So now what can I do that I don't think is possible, that is probably totally achievable, And I think that's it. That's how I felt when I got my scholarship. Man, when I got my scholarship, I was like, whoa, like, I did it, you know, but also like, shout out to my mom, shout out to Faith, you know, you want to kind of like shout out to my teachers as well, because I was such a, like my ADHD really kicked in year 12 because it's like I went from a school of 1,000 kids totality to 3,500, and it was an all girls Catholic school, and this was an all boys all girls and guys public school.
Right.
So the classroom dynamic is completely different when you have guys, and not everyone believes in God, and so it's a completely different world, you know. And so I was just doing all kinds of things, and so when I got my music scholarship, I felt like I could touch the sky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to other people, it was like, oh, it's just a scholarship.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, guys, I'm going to uni for free. You know? Like, I'm that guy. So I really, really, really appreciate and acknowledge your ability to actually have a goal and then go after it. Because I think a lot of people have a goal, get halfway, and they kind of give up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I want to champion you in that. I want to encourage you. You know, what you think your limit is just the beginning for God. Right? Like what he can do in your life, we can't imagine it. Right. We have no idea the kinds of things, right? Isaiah says, no man has seen, no ear has heard the kinds of things the Lord is going to do. And so it's like, be excited. I'm excited to see you in 2 years and see all the things you're doing. We're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll see you guys in part 3, where we'll talk more about the difficulties and the solutions. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this as much as I have. You are truly something special, a woman of valor, a woman of drive. And I know that you are going to do so much more than I think even you can imagine. So I'm super stoked, and it's been my honor to sit down with you this episode, truly. I love sitting down with people who are around my age because it's always a reminder of, oh, I can be doing so much more. So you're truly an encourager. In this specific section, we're going to be breaking down some of the solutions and solving some of the things that have kind of come up as it pertains to leadership, perseverance. You know, you mentioned that you kind of lived with people for a month. I often on the mission field live with 15 girls in one room, and after a month I'm like done. Like I'm so over it. We're sleeping on mattresses on the floor. Like it's very wild. So I'd be so keen to hear about some of the things you had to endure, but I want to begin at the beginning. So much of your testimony is this idea of determination and diligence. And so how did you find moving on after some sense of grief? Because for me, my mom moved to Australia. It was very much this thing of like, I felt like who I was had to go to the back burner, which is like, for example, this year why I'm going to the States and doing missions, doing music, giving a little bit more of what I felt like my teenage years should have been to. How did you go about like finding it within yourself to keep going, you know, and despite what you were experiencing?
I would say, first of all, I try to always reflect on my life whenever I have time, because if I don't look back at the difficulties that I have come across and that I have overcome, I wouldn't like have that strength to keep going. So I always reflect on my life. I always look at the good things, and I always look at how much love I have received, how much help I have received all along, and all those are from God as well. And so I always reflect, and in terms of overcoming the difficulties, I would say when I was in school and regarding the leadership role, I was like, sorry.
It's okay.
My mind is
blank.
like going everywhere.
Yeah. It's okay. Break down a little bit.
Like,
Like, let's say somebody was to come to you and like was like, hey, I've stepped into this new leadership role, be it head girl, be it prefect, be it whatever, international leader, and I'm struggling to find my feet. Where do I begin? What would you give for somebody, like top 2 tips, where they're like stepped into this new role and they're like, oh my gosh, someone always needs to talk to me, somebody has a problem, you know, because when I stepped into leadership, I was like, oh my gosh, people are really hard to deal with, you know, and communication style is huge. You can't talk to the same person to different people the same way. You know, some people need you to be a little bit more sensitive. Some people need you to be a little bit more blunt, you know. So what did you find, and what top 2 tips would you give to somebody else that is like, hey, I'm the international leader now, what do I do?
I would say, first of all, on that international leader,
Specific role.
yeah, specific
Yeah.
role. First of all, I would say, try to like make them feel welcomed. To understand that they also left their home country to study into a whole new place. So try to make them feel welcome and always, not always, but also try to help them be independent, to be able to do the things that they
They
might
love.
need to do and
Yeah.
in this country. Yeah. Yeah. That's about it.
So I'm just blowing the snot out of my nose. I found that often when it comes to allowing somebody to feel safe, a lot of it has to do with going back into some areas they may not want to face. You know, like when you're trying to allow people to feel independent, like they belong, like they can do this without the reliance on you, they have to go and confront some stuff. You know, they have to
Right.
sift through kind of how you were saying self-reflection.
Yeah.
So when you were in this state, you know, you're living with this family for a month, and now you're moving into this area where you and your sisters are stepping into independence.
Right.
For another young girl who was like in this synonymous situation, what are the top two things that you would say, hey, work on this or focus on this?
I would say it is true that we're on our own now, but you don't have to be afraid. You don't have to feel intimidated by people, especially when we like go to do our paperwork at like offices. It really depends on the people that we talk to and communicate with. Sometimes the people might be a little impatient and everything, and that make us feel more insecure. It makes us feel like it makes us question. It makes us question stuff like, oh, is this because we're refugees? Like we feel really
Insecure.
yeah, insecure. Basically, yeah. So I would say don't fear anything. Now that you're in this country, you're just the same as everyone else. Like you have every right to do anything you want as long as it is not something illegal.
Because you might end up in actual jail.
Yeah,
Actual jail. Not the refugee center.
But yeah, to like feel confident to do anything you might want to do, not be afraid, and also to like just go out of your comfort zone and do the things that you want to do.
I feel like that's the best advice because everything can become quite intimidating.
Right.
And whether or not people are trying to intimidate you, they win.
Yeah.
If you back down, you shrink in, you become self-conscious. And it's not the average Kiwi that is walking from Yemen to Malaysia. You have lived a life that so many people will like thank the Lord never have to experience, but because they've never experienced, they have this lack of like relatability. And so I would say that's actually the best thing. Don't have the fear of man. Don't have the fear of rejection. Don't have the fear of being let down, because you will be let down multiple times. But the one time that you are finally accepted will make up. Like I know the process with wins, man. It's tough. It's really hard. You fill out the most useless forms every day just to be rejected, you know. And when we were applying for funding after my mom left, for me and my sisters, it's like, I remember I had an appointment and I was in the waiting room for 2 hours, you know, and it's like at 1 hour, I was like, God, is this even worth it? I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I don't even know if they're going to let me receive this funding. What do I do? You know, that level of like exhaustion that kind of hits your body. But like honestly, champion through it because it gets better.
Right.
And God is who he says he is. And you will prevail. You will go from glory to glory. Even though you can only see, I think the issue is basically what you were saying as well with vision, is that when you can only see this far, you don't really have a reason to go any further.
Right.
But like a plane, when it's trying to hit Mach X, it has to hit Y.
Right.
Like in terms of when it's shooting, when it's trajectorying back down. So it's like, if we think about that, if a plane wants to land at X, but they have to aim at Y to get here, how much more so should we have this kind of longevity view of our lives? Like, aim as high as you can go, and then wherever you land. But I think, believe that there is so much more out there, because there really, really is. There is such a plethora of things. There's an abundance of opportunity. It's been amazing to sit down with you. Like I said, I'm very excited for your life. I know you're going to be an incredible woman because you've already become one through like the most insane storyline ever. But before we wrap it up, is there anything else that you would like to end with? Anything that's on your heart that you would like to share?
I would just like to say, please do go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Period. Like, comment, share. Spell it for them. Spell it for them.
The ad is Moethazin. Yeah.
A little bit slower.
All right. Moethazin.
And what kind of content can they expect?
From now onwards, I'm really excited to share uni contents.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, more of uni contents. Yeah, really excited to share those.
That's incredible. Wow. Once again, ARCC family, it has been my honor and my privilege to sit down with the most incredible people. This season and this year has been amazing. And I'm so stoked for what the Lord is going to do in these next few episodes. Don't forget to like this one, comment this one, subscribe to this channel, share this video, and let us know who you'd like us to see. That would be so exciting if you guys ever have people in mind. They're like, dang, I'd love to see Audrey sit down with that person. Please feel free to comment or even just text us at our Instagram. Be blessed, be highly favored, and we'll see you guys in the next one.